Everyone, welcome back to Business Studies class. Last class we have started with one of the form of public sector enterprise, that is called departmental undertaking. There we have even seen the meaning of departmental undertaking. That is, it is one of the oldest and traditional form of public sector enterprise which is owned and controlled and function purely by the government through its ministry department, right? So example also you have seen like railways, LIC you can add, Doordarshan, All India Radio, all these becomes an example for your departmental undertaking, right? Now we will go with the features, merits and demerits of departmental undertaking. Initially if you see the features of departmental undertaking, you have formation, like how it is formed. As we have seen in the meaning itself, these businesses are formed by the government itself through its ministry. And then who will be the ultimate owner of that particular business? It is the government, and in government a particular ministry. For example, railways, railway transportation. Okay, so railways, it is a business of the government which is controlled by whom? Railway department, by the railway minister. It is like that. Okay, hence we say they are fully they are created by government and they are attached to a particular ministry, department of the government. Then it does not have any separate legal entity. I hope you understand this separate legal entity. We have seen in the case of our some other forms of organization like a joint stock company, cooperative society, partnership. There we have seen this term, separate legal entity, in the sense in the eyes of law it will not be seen as separate. The department and the business of the department are treated as same. So what I want to say is, for example, railways are owned, managed and controlled by whom? Railway department, and ultimately railway minister and the government, isn't it? So whatever decisions has to be taken, the railway minister has to be taken with the concerned government official. Okay, so the business is not identified as separate person in the eyes of law. Is that clear? So the mistake, whatever railway department, to if someone wants to blame the railway department, railways, it is nothing but blaming the railway minister or like railway department. It is like that, because in the sight of government, in the sight of law, the department and the business of that department are seen as one. So the laws what are related to the railway department is for that railway transport. Is it clear? So we say they don't have any separate legal entity, just like a joint stock company. Then comes management and controlled by concerned minister. That is what I said, that particular business is controlled by that particular minister, department head. Okay. Next, finance, that is regarding finance, it is wholly financed by the government. Yes, these departmental undertakings are financed by the government itself, the department itself. You know budget allocation, right? Budget allocation yearly once, at the end of March there will be budget allocation. Both state government and central government will announce the budgets. Means what government want to give to a particular department, they are going to announce through that budget, isn't it? So they announce some budget to the railway department also. So that becomes their investment. For the railway transport business, the budget what is allowed by the government yearly once, that becomes their investment. They don't get investment from the public. General companies, general businesses will be raising finance from the public, but your departmental undertaking purely, that is because it is one of the public sector enterprise, that is under the control of government, they get funds from the government itself through the budget allocation. Right? Then last, no borrowing powers. They cannot borrow anything from any other people, like any other department also. So these are the features of your departmental undertaking in simple. Then we'll see the merits and demerits of departmental undertaking. When you see the features, merits and demerits, you will be having the entire concept of departmental undertaking. It is very easy to form. If you see on the merit side, it is very easy to form, because the entire responsibility will be on a particular department. No a single person will be responsible. It is a department which is responsible. It is a department which looks after the formation. So it is simply easy. Effective control. So it is said to be an effective control because it is controlled by the government. And then comes optimum utilization of funds. Funds will be utilized in a right manner. It is said like that. Okay. Then accountability. Yes, greater accountability will be there because on regular intervals these departmental undertaking will be having auditings. Okay, internal auditing, and also from sometimes directly from the government they will be appointing auditors. Okay, hence accountability will be there in the government departmental undertakings. Then public revenue, they get funds from where? Public itself. Okay, then lastly secrecy. Secrecy can be maintained in the departmental undertaking because it is an department of government itself. The business is controlled, managed by the government itself, hence secrecy will not be leaked out to anyone. Then if you see the demerit side, it is inflexibility. We see inflexibility in the sense because of the ministers, because of the involvement of political leaders, political parties, generally what happens, whatever decision they want to take, they cannot take so easily. One of the best example, the recent example what we can give is BSNL network. See, that is one of the government network. Okay, and few years back it was having good demand in the market. Many used to take the network connection from BSNL, but because they are unable to adopt, they are unable to move with the advanced thing like 3G, 4G and 5G, they are unable to update themselves. Many of the users of BSNL left the BSNL networks and they have jumped to, they have diverted or they have taken some other networks, like it can be V or it can be Airtel, like anything. They have jumped from one network to another network. Why it has happened? In the sense, because the BSNL network could not adopt the advanced thing in it. It is inflexible, means they are unable to move from one advancement to another advancement so easily as the private sector people move, because there the decision making becomes very easy, but in government sector it becomes very tough. Such an inflexibility exists in your departmental undertaking. Then lack of motivation. We say lack of motivation because if you see the private sector enterprises, they work hard, they get the money. So that money motivates them to again work hard. But such a case you don't find in departmental undertaking. Why? Because funds are given by the government and again funds has to be paid to the government. You will be, as a worker, you will be getting your salary. If you work hard also, if you work overtime also, whatever you do, you will be getting only your salary. So that part does not motivate the employees to be very honest towards the business. But if you see the private people, if you work 1 hour more, 2 hours more, you can demand OT, that is overtime money you can demand there, and it will be identified. Your overwork, your over concern toward the organization, your over efficiency is concentrated and motivated there. But that we cannot find in departmental undertaking, because the ultimate owner is what? The department. Okay, the minister who has to look after all the things. Hence it becomes lack of motivation in our departmental undertakings. And then comes a lack of financial autonomy. You don't, autonomy in the sense freedom. You don't have any financial freedom. The money will be given by the government, and money has, whatever you earn through that you have to pay to the government. See, for example, railway transportation is there. So to make something update, say whatever it may be, the budget is allotted by the government itself. Whatever money they earn through the railways, they have to pay to the railway department. The railway department pays salaries to you. That's it. Okay, so individually the employees or the management people does not have any authority over the financial matters. Hence we say lack of financial autonomy. Because of lack of financial autonomy, they are inflexible. They cannot move so easily to the decisions. Then comes, we say, inefficient management. See, to be a right manager, you should possess some qualification and all. But in government sectors, in departmental undertaking, what happens? They may not have a required skills in order to manage the business, because they are the political parties. See, for example, who is the head of your ministry? He is a member from the particular political party who has got more votes, and he is in the place of that particular ministry, head of the ministry. He may not be qualified to occupy that place. Did you ever see allotting a minister according to his qualification? To be frank, if you see, the health minister may not pass a 10th class, but he is an health minister. He has to do so many things. He has to come out with so many health things. But he may not have any knowledge about that particular business, but also he will be the owner of that business. He manages the business. Because of such issues, what happens? Generally, the management becomes inefficient. Then we say red tapeism and bureaucracy. Bureaucracy in the sense, bureaucrats you might heard about. It is called government officials, okay, who are there in that particular business, in that particular field. Okay, red tapeism in the sense, it is an attitude of over concern towards the rules and regulations. You might see in the government people, for each and everything there will be a procedure. Without following procedure, nothing can be done. Hence, the decisions will be delayed too much. So that is what called red tapeism. These red tapeism by the bureaucrats in the government field will be huge. No work can be done so easily because of lengthy organization structure, and they are over concerned towards what? The government rules and regulation. Okay, because of all these things, many of the departmental undertakings, such businesses are closed now. You can, best example is BSNL. They are suffering a lot to run the business. Okay, so where the departmental undertaking can be used? For what type of business, what types of business the government can undertake? So that you have suitability like, okay. So departmental undertakings are suitable where secrecy is required. Government control is essential. Huge investment is required. This can be an answer. This can be asked for 1 mark. Like, what is the suitability of departmental undertaking? So you can write where the secrecy is very essential. See, if it is a departmental undertaking, secrets can be maintained. If it is not some other form, generally public people, general private people will be involved in your business, and business secrets might be leaked out. If you feel some secrecy, countries, nation secrecy has to be maintained in business, in such cases you should go with what? Departmental undertakings. Like atomic energy, we can say, that is the most important things, like coming out with the arms and arms, all those are very essential things. Okay, for all those things we can have a form of organization called departmental undertaking. Okay, go with the features, merits and demerits. When you try to understand all these things, the entire concept will be clear in front of you. Okay, so in next class we move with some other next form of business organization. Till we meet in our next class, take care. Bye bye.